Our next guest needs no introduction to college hockey fans. Michigan headman Red Berenson joining us. Red, let's get this out of the way right off the bat. Do you get a kick out of every offseason, folks who follow Michigan hockey saying, well, this is probably Red's last year. I'm glad we got to enjoy some of it, knowing deep in your heart that you're coming back for another year?
Well, I never know deep in my heart. I think it's somewhere between my head and my heart. But I had the feeling last year with the way our team played, the way our staff interacted, and just our overall program. I really liked where we were, and I thought it would be good with a new athletic director, Ward Manuel, coming in, and we had a big discussion in the spring, and he pretty much convinced me that it was the right thing to do to come back. You know, I want to do what's best for the program too. It's not just about me.
And you have been part of this program for so long. And as the sport evolves and as the sport changes, you've seen, and I know you've always seen guys leave early to the NHL and other pro opportunities, but over the last couple of years, you guys have been hit extremely hard. How does that change your strategy, whether it's actually coaching day to day or more to the point in recruiting?
Well, you know, you like to think it's a result of good recruiting and good coaching when kids leave early. On the other hand, I think more kids are being enticed to leave early now for the wrong reasons. They're being told that, you know, they're going to play in the NHL right away, and that doesn't usually happen. But we had a special group last year, and they got a lot of attention through team success, and I think that's what's happened. And the pro people are looking for players, and they're getting younger, and they like our program.
You and I were talking off camera before we officially started the interview about a young man like Alex Kyle, a guy who did decide to come back despite some pro opportunities. How important will a guy like Alex be? And I'm not just talking about point production. I'm talking about leadership with so many new faces that are going to have to contribute more this year.
Well, that's huge. You know, you heard Alex talk about our freshman class, 11 freshmen coming in. And they have a chance to make an impact. We'll need them to be impact on our team. And certainly with leadership, it's going to be huge. And I think Alex Kyle, who is one of our leading scorers last year, but is our leading returning scorer this year, will be, I think, especially important in the leadership role. Plus, I think he'll be one of our few game breaker type players that we'll have.
Red, on the back end, I know for a while over the last couple of years, you went back and forth with Steve Racine and Zach Nagelvort in goal. Obviously, Steve has now moved on. Zach's still on the roster, but there are a couple of very young goaltenders, most notably LaFontaine, who are very highly touted coming in. How much of a battle will there be for that goaltending job?
Well, I think that's going to be a big part of our decision-making is Nagelford has the experience, and he's been here this is his fourth year, and he's a good kid, and he's a good goalie. And can he carry the torch? And we'll have to see. We're not sure about LaFontaine. He's the youngest of the crew. And then Hayden Levine is another freshman who's a little more experienced than Jack. And right now they all look good. We've only had limited viewings and limited practice time, but they all look good. I think it's going to be a battle.
Obviously, so many freshmen will have to contribute for your team to be successful this year. Red, I'm curious, when guys first come in, when they're 17, 18, 19 years old, how much different are they today than they were when you started coaching? Everybody wants to say kids are different, but are 17 and 18-year-old kids kind of the same now as they were when you first started this gig at Michigan?
Well, it sounds strange, but I think kids were older then. I mean, even for the same age, they acted older. They were a little more independent. Hadn't been chauffeured around by their parents and maybe micromanaged as much as they have been recently. And so we get kids that, I mean, they're wide open. They need support, they need direction, and they need structure. And that's really what we're trying to give them. But I think the kids, there's very few throwback kids. You know, we get the odd kid that's a throwback kid. He just like one of our freshmen were maybe 20 years ago. But more of them need more help now than they did then.
Red, how important was it for you individually and for the program moving forward to get back to the NCAAs last year after such a great run of 22 straight before that mini drought?
Well, it really was. You know, we tried not to make a big deal about it when we didn't make it the first year. In fact, that first year we didn't deserve to make it. So that was fine with me. But in the meantime, I want Michigan to be one of the top programs in the country, and you've got to be in the tournament if you're going to make that statement. And certainly last year we made a good statement, and we've got to back it up with a good year this year.
And you beat Notre Dame in the opener of the NCAAs. It was kind of coincidental that just 2 days before, I believe, the Big Ten had announced that Notre Dame will join the league beginning in 2017-18. You know the program well. You know Jeff well. What are your thoughts on Notre Dame becoming part of the Big Ten hockey-wise next year?
I think it's a great move by both Notre Dame and the Big Ten. It's a win-win situation. We're getting a strong program, a strong academic institution, and we're getting a proven coach. I have a lot of respect for Jeff Jackson and Notre Dame hockey. I think they're going to really add to the Big Ten, and it makes sense for them.
If it fits, Red, academically and for all the other reasons outside of athletically, would you like to see further expansion, or are we okay as a league sticking with 7 for a while?
Well, I think 7 for a while is fine, but I think the powers to be would be looking at possible further expansion if you get the right fit. If you get a program like Notre Dame in our geographic footprint as well, and academics included, that's the kind of team you want. And I think hopefully there'll be other Big Ten schools that are looking seriously at hockey.
Alex told me how much importance you put specifically on your guys making sure that they do the right things in the classroom. Where does that come from for you, and how much of that is based on your own success and your own time as not just an athlete, but a student athlete in Ann Arbor?
Well, I made a tough decision when I was 18 to not turn pro with the Montreal Canadiens. And they told me then that you'll never be a pro or you'll never be an NHLer if you go to school. And that was the mindset in the late 50s. And but I bucked that trend, and I came to school. I wanted, and really for the reason that I thought I would be a player, but I wanted to have something to fall back on, and I always felt there was life after hockey. And I got some good advice from former pros when I was young, and I listened to them, and I stuck it out. Every year I was at Michigan, I had a chance to leave, and I never even considered it. So I played 4 years, and then had to, I had that opportunity to be the first player to go straight from U.S. college hockey to the NHL, and I'm glad I did it. I did it the right way, and I think you can still do it that way. There's no rush to get to the NHL or pro hockey, and so I did that, and I know what it feels like. And now I still haven't had life after hockey. I'm still waiting for that to happen, but nevertheless, I've seen a lot of players that have gone on to do well in the NHL, and I'm proud of them. But I'm also proud of the fact that they're going to have a meaningful career after hockey's over. 'Cause hockey is not a guarantee just because you're playing at a Division I school or just because you're drafted.
Well said by the man who has been around this sport for a very long time and done more than pretty much anybody has ever done. Red Berenson, as always, great to catch up. Best of luck this season.
Great. Thank you very much. Good talking to you.